Welcome, brave souls, to Fear File Chronicles, your one-way ticket to spine-chilling stories and terrifying tales. Tonight, we'll be diving into the darkest corners of the human mind with the story, The Journal My Grandfather Left Me, Part 2, penned by the twisted mind of True God 92. Together, we'll explore the unexplained and face our deepest fears. But before we begin, if you enjoy trembling in terror, be sure to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow fear fanatics, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the bell notification so you never miss an eerie episode. Your support truly means the world to us, so feel free to leave a comment below to join the Fear File Chronicles community. Now, without further ado, let's unravel the mysteries of the unknown together as we delve into tonight's fear-inducing story, The Journal My Grandfather Left Me. Part 2. Dim the lights and prepare yourself for a chilling journey into the Fear File Chronicles. Growing up, I always knew my grandpa was a little different. He was always the one with the weird stories and the strange artifacts around the house. But I never could have guessed that he was a demonologist. It all started when my grandpa passed away and left me the demon's journal. My family and I started going through his old belongings, trying to decide what to keep and what to donate. That's when I found another strange book hidden away in a box in his closet. The book was bound in leather and had strange symbols etched into the cover. It was definitely not something you'd find in a normal library. Curious, I opened the book and started flipping through the pages. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The book was filled with drawings of demons, incantations, and instructions on how to summon them. It was like something straight out of a horror movie. I was shocked. My grandpa, the man who had always been so kind and gentle, had been a demonologist. I didn't know what to think or how to feel. I was scared, but also a little intrigued. I started doing some research on demonology and quickly realized just how deep the rabbit hole went. There were entire books and online communities dedicated to studying and practicing demonology. It was a world I never knew existed. As I delved deeper into the subject, I couldn't help but wonder why my grandpa had been so interested in it. I knew he had always been fascinated by the supernatural, but demonology was a whole different ballgame. I had to know more. I started asking my family members if they knew anything about my grandpa's interest in demonology. Most of them were just as surprised as I was. But my aunt, who had always been close to my grandpa, told me a story that shed some light on the situation. According to my aunt, when my grandpa was a young man, he had been involved in a car accident. He was badly injured and spent months in the hospital recovering. During that time, he became fascinated with the idea of the afterlife and what lay beyond. He started reading books on the subject and eventually stumbled upon demonology. He became obsessed with the idea of communicating with demons and learning their secrets. He spent years studying the subject, even traveling to remote locations to meet with other demonologists. As I listened to my aunt's story, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. My grandpa had been a man of great curiosity and determination. He had dedicated his life to studying something that most people would never even consider. But at the same time, I couldn't shake the feeling of fear. The idea of demons and the afterlife had always scared me, and now I knew that my grandpa had been involved with them in some way. I didn't know what to make of it. I decided to do some more digging and see if I could find any more information about my grandpa's demonology work. I scoured the internet and finally came across a blog written by a demonologist who had worked with my grandpa in the past. The demonologist, who went by the name of Blackwood, had some interesting things to say about my grandpa. He described him as a brilliant and dedicated researcher who had uncovered some of the most hidden secrets of demonology. But Blackwood also warned me about the dangers of my grandpa's work. He said that demonology was not something to be taken lightly, and that my grandpa had put himself in great danger by delving too deep into the subject. Blackwood told me that my grandpa had been involved in some very risky rituals and had made contact with some of the most powerful and dangerous demons. He warned me that these demons could still be lurking around, waiting for an opportunity to cause harm. I was terrified by what Blackwood had told me. I had always thought of demonology as something that only existed in movies and books. But now I realized that it was a very real and dangerous practice. I was also confused about why my grandpa had never talked to me or my family about his demonology work. Why had he kept it a secret for so long? Was he afraid of what we would think of him? I decided to confront my grandpa's old colleagues and friends to get some answers. I reached out to a few of them and arranged to meet with them in person. When I met with them, they were hesitant to talk about my grandpa's work. They seemed to be afraid of revealing too much and putting themselves in danger. But after some convincing, they finally opened up to me. They told me that my grandpa had been a very private person who had kept his work hidden from everyone, including his closest friends and family. They said that he had always been afraid of the consequences of his actions and had taken great precautions to protect himself. They also told me about the dangerous rituals that my grandpa had been involved in and the powerful demons he had communicated with. They said that he had been very skilled in his craft, but that he had also been very reckless. As I listened to their stories, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. On the one hand, I was proud of my grandpa for his dedication and skill. On the other hand, I was horrified by the risks he had taken and the potential consequences of his actions. I knew that I had to do something to make sure that my grandpa's work didn't cause harm to anyone else. I decided to gather all of his demonology books and artifacts and dispose of them in a safe and responsible way. As I was going through his belongings, I came across a journal that my grandpa had kept throughout his demonology work. It was filled with notes, drawings, and descriptions of his experiences. I started reading through the journal and was struck by the depth of my grandpa's knowledge and the intensity of his experiences. He had truly dedicated his life to studying demonology and had uncovered some of the most hidden secrets of the subject. But as I read on, I began to notice a change in his writing. His entries became darker and more ominous. He wrote about feeling like he was being watched and about strange occurrences happening around him. It was clear that my grandpa had become afraid of his own work. He had realized the dangers of what he was doing and had tried to distance himself from it. As I finished reading the journal, I realized that my grandpa had been both a brilliant scholar and a cautionary tale. He had dedicated his life to studying something that most people would never even consider. But he had also put himself in great danger in the process. I knew that I would always be proud of my grandpa for his dedication and skill. But I also knew that I would never forget the risks he had taken, sadly, in his final years. Dementia took over. He began losing his mind slowly. In his journal, you can tell this scared him because he knew the demons that he had contracts with would contort his mind even farther, and sadly, in his last days, he was nothing but a shell of the man that we all thought we knew. I'm going to look more into my grandpa's work to see if there's any chance of closure. Well, my friends, we've reached the end of tonight's chilling tale, The Journal My Grandfather Left Me, Part 2 by the talented True God 92. I hope you've enjoyed our descent into darkness, and that you'll carry a piece of the Fear File Chronicles with you as you drift into uneasy dreams. If our story left you shivering and shaking, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who crave a good scare, and subscribe to the Fear File Chronicles for more haunting horrors. Remember to hit the bell notification so you're always among the first to know when a new nightmare awaits. As always, we appreciate your support and would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Sharing your fears and frights with us truly means a lot, so don't be shy to engage with our sinister community. Until next time, remember to embrace the darkness, for it is within the shadows that our most terrifying stories are born. Good night, and stay scared.